brauchen Begegnungen zwischen unseren Gesellschaften, wie wir sie durch das Deutschlandjahr in Russland ermöglichen werden, das in diesen Tagen beginnt.
Ich freue mich sehr, dass wir alle da sind. Das ist in dieser Zeit keine Selbstverständlichkeit. Es war für alle große Anstrengungen.
There have been close ties between the cities of Tomsk and Berlin for over 20 years. These are primarily funded by Professor Popov and his staff at the Institute of Mechanics of the Technical University of Berlin. There is a double degree agreement between this and the Polytechnical University in Tomsk. And so in 2021, despite difficult conditions, a group of German students will travel to Tomsk again to listen to lectures and experience an extensive program as part of the German Days. Unfortunately, after the first lecture of the week, the weather threatens to turn cold and wet. And that's why another group flies in on September 5th. Bringing good weather with them from Berlin. And of course, that fits perfectly with a hike that is scheduled for September 6 along the Tom. The descent to the Tom Valley takes place on the limit between sticking and gliding, and that's not easy for some people.
Rebecca, sag mal, wie findest du da deine Kollegen? Du warst die Erste.
Ja, es hat sehr viel Spaß gemacht. Es ist ein sehr abenteuerlustiger Weg und ich hoffe, die schaffen es alle runter, weil das haben nicht alle so gute Schuhe.
So, das ist ein Video.
Ja. Okay. Alles gut, so wie Popo, alles gut.
Ja,
dann kommt eine Stunde später und sagt...
Ja.
When planning the excursion, it was of course taken into account that a lecture had to be cancelled as a result. And to compensate for that, there is, as always, a mechanical physical experiment at this point. The jumping stone is all about finding the optimal combination of stone, shape, rotation, speed and throwing angle.
Так, сюда.
Okay.
Так, сейчас и рыбу дам.
And then we also met a fisherman who had just finished his job. That's why we couldn't help him, but he wanted a group photo and of course with the fish.
Okay, Johannes, hast du gesehen? Okay. Sehr schön hier.
It is now 12 o'clock and after so much effort, everyone deserves a little break. With a snack, of course.
Wir essen erstmal gleich, damit ihr nichts...
Here we see the complete hike again. That means about halfway through the route we had to climb back up from the Tom to the road. And after a long hike over the tarmac, it finally goes back down a number of stairs to the river.
Wieso ist vielleicht da irgendwie Plätzchen hier gerade auf dem Weg?
Ja, ist so schön scharf, ne?
Aber da gibt's auch. Wo es nicht auf dem
Well,
Weg
and
ist.
then a group actually goes swimming. The water is not quite as warm as in midsummer, and the past few days have also been a bit cooler. But today it's 25 degrees, and it's very bearable in the water.
Warm, das will ich nicht sagen.
As always at this time of the year, a large conference is taking place in the Hotel Rubin. There, Tomsk and national and international scientists will present their latest work. The conference language is Russian with simultaneous translation into English. And since the event is not part of the German-Russian program, we are just showing a few excerpts.
Говорить не приходится, ну и по этой же причине у нас.
In addition to the traditional lecture this year on friction physics, there is an extensive program for the students and other guests. On the Russian side, this is organized by the Polytechnic University in Tomsk and then by the ISPMS. This is an institute comparable to BAM or Fraunhofer in Germany, and it belongs to the Russian Academy of Sciences. Today we have a visit to a completely redesigned laboratory for robotics. Here the students can combine experiments in a group or at individual workstations, program them and then try them out.
Transfer to their machine.
Можно сказать, это такая кульминация вообще всей конференции, поэтому предлагаю.
The scientific congress in the Hotel Rubin lasts for 4 days. But it is also about human encounters. And the banquet on the evening of the 3rd day, for example, also serves this purpose, where there is an extensive entertainment program in addition to food and drink.
This workshop organized by the Technische Universität Berlin and the Institute of Strength Physics and Material Science since 2004. This is a very, very high-cited paper. As a matter of fact, maybe the most cited paper in contact mechanics, even more cited than the original paper by Heinrich Hertz. But in reality, the solution of Snedden was obtained not by Snedden.
This presentation is just part of a project we did together with a company who was producing rail dampers, and so it's not a fundamental research, but perhaps at the end of my presentation you will say, oh, what a simple result. but that was just the goal. And the way was rather extinguished, you will see.
And close the workshop. Thank you.
Actually, the program also includes a visit to the Gymnasium No. 6 with its students. But unfortunately, this has to be cancelled due to Corona. For the evening of September 10, Professor Popov invites the students and a large part of the organizers to his favorite coffee shop.
Hier nicht alle sind miteinander bekannt. Wir haben hier 8 Studierende oder 8 Studierende aus der Berlin, Technische Universität Berlin. Wir haben hier auch 2 Lehrerinnen, stellvertretende Direktoren des Gymnasiums Nummer 6 und Tamara Ivanovna ist die Lehrerin für deutsche Sprache. Das sind alles Leute, die irgendwie 4 bis 5 Cafés, die ich immer besuche. Eines davon ist dieses. Ich nehme immer, versuche einen Tisch am Schrank zu kriegen. Hier gibt es auch Albums, die ich mir anschaue. Ich kann Bücher lesen, keine große Bibliothek, aber die Freundin Dünen, das ist, was ich gerade jetzt lese, da steht dieses schönes Büchlein. Ja, das ist, kann man sehr gut die Zeit verbringen. Ich hoffe, dass auch Sie die Zeit schön verbringen werden.
Of course, a stay in Tomsk also has to include a visit to Professor Psarki's grave. We have to do this to thank him for the good relations between Tomsk and Berlin.
Okay.
On the way back to the city, we make a short visit to a typical Russian dacha. And the rest of the evening we spent with very good friends.
Потом среди мужчин нашелся кто-то, сказавший: братцы, нет у вас стыда, даешь бесперебойную работу, даешь производительность труда. Потом мужчины долго заседали и составляли план работ на год. А в это время женщины копали и продвигались женщины вперед.
Sunday morning we spent at the church service in the evangelical Merkel Church. This is where the German community meets and foreign visitors are generously provided with songbooks and the program of the day by some ladies. And for the rest of the Sunday, we just enjoy a bit of the city with its people. At this point we have to mention that all student activities are recorded by a local TV team. Today there will be a discussion between Russian and German participants. The topic is the design of a future university campus.
And here we have an interdisciplinary international team for doing that. And I hope it will be a friendly and open atmosphere of discussion. I know that some of you are on your visit and what are students here, so just could you tell us, please? Hello.
After this event, the Russian and German students meet for a mental relaxation and a game of broom ball.
Und kannst du da auch drauf reiten oder fliegen? Nein.
Ich habe es noch nicht versucht, aber es macht erstaunlich viel Spaß, damit Fußball zu spielen.
Warst du auch bei den Gewinnern?
Ich war in einem Gewinnerteam und ich habe 2 Vorlagen gespielt.
On our way home we discovered the remains of an old monastery complex, hidden in the middle of a residential area. Our students were all excited about the game and they were all sweaty by the end. The disadvantage, however, was that almost everyone had a cold the next day. The next program item includes a visit to some laboratories at the ISPMS. There we are first welcomed by the president, Professor Kolubayev, and he guides us to the first test stand where electromagnetic experiments are carried out.
Move along the world.
Here a probe drives along a track and induces eddy currents there. And when cracks appear, they change their values, and this can be measured in the feeding of the magnet.
Magnetic fields, yes. We have friction stir welding itself.
In this joining process, one workpiece rotates relative to another, while under pressure, creating friction. The compression force creates a homogeneous connection between the two materials. "3D printing is a well-known process, and meanwhile there are many people who now even operate a 3D printer at home. But this system here for metallic 3D printing in a vacuum cannot be compared at all, of course, and the results are corresponding. This finishes our visit to the ISPMS. We learned a lot and now we are going back to the city of Tomsk by a minibus.
Wie schön das ist.
Voilà heißt das.
Heute machen wir ein bisschen weiter mit der Vorlesung. Bis jetzt haben wir uns beschäftigt ausschließlich mit Metall.
The lecture on friction physics has just been going on for a while. In the first week it was held by Professor Popov and then by Jasminka Starchevich. Unfortunately, there aren't that many listeners, and that's because, as already mentioned, some caught cold while playing broom ball, and they have to stay in bed.
Sigma ist nicht weiter als G mal Epsilon. Also nur, dass wir Epsilon jetzt in dieser Art schreiben. Versteht und für was benutzen wir was.
From now on, we will show many activities that were offered for us by the TPU and the Russian students. First of all, many famous people who have worked here at the university were introduced to us by means of photos. And then it goes up to the museum. This museum offers an interesting mix. For example, it shows recordings of everyday life from the past, many well-known personalities and, of course, research results in descriptions and in models.
Километре отсюда, вот в ту сторону, под одним из учебных корпусов ты был. Надеюсь. С глубины Луны и конструкция лунного бура бурильной установки принадлежит карточке.
So this is a book issued in 1911.
И уникальность модели это модифицированные топазы,
Well, and finally we have included a very strange thing here. In between we'll make a very short stop at Anton Chekhov, or what the artist made of him. And then we come to the next item on the program, a guided tour of the city.
Aber 3 geht's wieder. Wir gehen alle zusammen.
The city of Tomsk was founded in 1604 by order of Tsar Boris Godunov on a hill of the Tom River as a Cossack fortress. So in 2004, Tomsk turned 400 years old. And on this occasion a part of the old complex was rebuilt here and complemented the local history museum. What never must be missing in Tomsk is, of course, a shot on the first stone. And then the path leads us straight on to the house of the poet Vyacheslav Shishkov.
Вот центральная скамейка, она как раз является.
So that central bench, is that bench where can you make a video?
Rebecca, was wünschst du dir?
Ich habe mir was gewünscht, aber ich darf es leider nicht sagen.
Also.
Here we are at the Alex Monastery of the Mother of God. This is the largest facility of its kind in the city.
Нет, в саду, не в этом парке.
And then our way leads us again to the Protestant wooden church, which was built by Putin in 2006 for the joint meeting with Angela Merkel. This time we are very fortunate that the church is open, and that gives us the opportunity to take a look behind the scenes.
Здесь тоже и католические, и немецкие, да.
Es gibt auch katholisch, deutsch.
Если немец, то думает, что надо сюда нести. Но как?
Wenn du das genau wissen willst.
The German house is not far away. This is one of the most beautiful wooden houses in Tomsk. And here, a few weeks later, Rebecca and David met a group of young Russians to spend an evening together.
Was auf, der fährt jetzt los.
Finally, the bus takes us back home. But at the end of the day, we still visit the State University and the adjacent botanical garden.
On Monday we have another excursion, another walking tour to the fortress outside of Tomsk.
In the west of Tomsk is the sculpture park Okulitsa. During normal times, there is an annual X Festival with a competition in which artists from all over the world take part. And today we are just going to take a little walk through the forest. We already know that in 1604 Tomsk was founded by the Cossacks. And to the east of the city there is still an old facility where the Cossacks present themselves and invite you to take part in their lives.
Нет, ну, для лекарственных целей? Да, для лекарственных. Но я предлагал это про чай, ну что-то... Вот, и говорят, ошеломил, я его ударяю. Нормально, да? Все, значит, вот это термин. Это не так.
Heute haben wir die Schüler der 9., 10. und 11. Klassen eingeladen. Und die wichtigste Person und der Initiator sozusagen von diesem Treffen ist Valentin Leonidovich Popov.
Studierenden von deutschen Universitäten, Technische Universität Berlin, Technische Universität Dortmund und Technische Universität München.
Ist es wirklich so, dass die Deutschen Angst haben, nach Russland zu reisen? Und wie war es mit euch? Wie habt ihr euch entschieden, also nach Russland, nach Sibirien beziehungsweise?
So.
As already mentioned, a visit to the Gymnasium No. 6 was actually planned, but unfortunately this had to be cancelled due to Corona. But then there was still a discussion round, and at the end all sat together informally, and later there were further meetings between the students and the pupils. The last common item on the program for everyone is a visit to a confectionery factory. The Russian sweets from the past are still well known and popular, but in the meantime there is a range of fine and finest specialities, and as you can see here, these are still mostly made by hand. Well, that's actually the end of the program in Tomsk. Except for Rebecca and David, most left the city by the end of September. And what remains are the memories of a beautiful city and wonderful people. And that's why we are finally showing a collection of impressions and moments that say to me personally, Johannes, come back. But will it be possible?